Hey guys, welcome to our podcast, Forces of Fandom. I'm your host, Ashley.
And I'm your next host, Savi.
And hello there, I'm your third host, Mariah.
And we are just three simple women making our way through the multiverse. All right. How are you guys doing?
I am nervous.
I was going to say, with transparency, I'm fully nervous.
Me too, but it's okay.
But we'll work through this together.
Our nervousness will only make it more entertaining, so it's fine. Okay. Well, how do we want to start? Go ahead.
I was going to say, welcome everyone. That's how we can start. Thank you for joining us. I don't know why you guys are listening to us, but we hope you enjoy listening to what we have to say about our Geek Girl fandom and our 2 cents.
It'll be fun. Well, since this is our first episode, I think we were going to start off. We had some questions we had posted on our Instagram a few weeks ago that people wanted us to answer. And I think, Savi, you have those questions. So should we start with that?
Yeah, I have them down here. Okay, first question. What made you want to start a podcast?
I have no clue. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. Ashley made a comment and I just happened to see it. And I was like, yeah, that's fun. Let's do it. Not knowing how much work. And just to let you guys know, this is our second time trying to record this. The first time, I'm pretty sure I could have built a time machine and it would have been easier than what we did.
It's so true. And it's funny because we are here just because of a random, I can't sleep. So I'm going to post on Instagram how I want to start a podcast. And here we are.
And I'm glad you did. I don't know we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to figure this out together. Teamwork.
Yes. And I guess the reason that I made the post in the first place is to be able to connect with people. I'm a blogger and I like to write, but to actually be able to interact with you guys or, hopefully have people like us and interact with them was really what I was looking for.
I think you said it perfectly right there because, well, one, I've always wanted to do a podcast, but just never went for it. I would listen to other podcasts. And it's true. You just posted and I literally was like, oh my God, this might be an opportunity. So I threw my hat in the ring, but I definitely wanted to do it just for fun, just to talk to people and, I don't know, be goofy together. Because for me personally, I'm hoping a lot of the listeners / viewers that do follow me do know that a lot of the support I've gotten comes from Rex and Around, which is a podcast. And they were an inspiration for me to go for this. So it helped me a lot through a lot of times where I was alone. And I'm just hoping that this podcast, even if it's just one person that it helps, that's all I want.
That's beautiful. I don't know. I love to talk. I can talk for hours about just anything what to do with Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, DC. I can just talk. Whenever I meet someone just out in public and they see that I'm wearing a Marvel shirt, they're like, oh, I'm a Marvel fan. I was like, but are you a Marvel fan? Let's talk. How much of a Marvel? I pretty much scare people away. I'm almost positive. So I got this sense of this fandom from being on Instagram. That's where I met Ashley and I was introduced to you, Savi. So everyone, please reach out to us through our Instagram page. Follow us at the Forces of Fandom and please share, comment. We will reply back and interact with us. And that's what we're here for.
Yes.
All right. Second question. How did you all meet?
Instagram.
Because that's where we spend most of our time.
It's true. It's, yeah.
I think Yeah, me and Ashley actually connected because we like to buy stuff on
It's true.
Instagram. So if you have a really cool shop, like I will most likely buy.
I will too. And then I think Savi and we connected because I started buying her pins, but a buying
I
problem.
was gonna say it because I self-pop.
It's true.
She hasn't caught me yet. There's one pin I'm hoping that she brings back and she knows which one it is. Then I will buy pins, but I'm just not a pin collector.
It's in the works, Mariah. I already have the manufacturer making that.
So soon. But at least if you go check my Instagram, you can see my comparison post that I did recently of my pin board in January into today. And I have a problem.
No, you're fine. You
Okay.
do not have a problem. You have a solution.
Yes.
What's that thing they say? It's good for the economy.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been in a crisis this past year. She's just helping the economy grow by depleting her own economy.
It's true. But yeah, Instagram.
Instagram, basically the internet. I would just like to say internet friends are the coolest. I don't care what anyone says. Internet friends are the coolest.
They are. They don't judge you as much as your real friends.
I feel like
It's
you
true.
meet more interesting people on the internet than just what you're surrounded by.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I talk to you guys more than I talk to anyone here in real life. And it's true about like meeting people. I don't know, like I feel like you connect better. Like when I was down in Anaheim last week and then Savi and I got to hang out and we ended up hanging out like the whole day. She tolerated my children and my husband.
I didn't tolerate. I honestly, like, your kids are adorable, and I loved Chris. He was super cool. I normally don't really like people. I'm sorry.
Same.
People are gonna be like, "Oh my god, she seems so nice on her Instagram." Like, I am. It's just I get socially awkward, so I want to go home
Yeah.
early.
It's not that you don't like people. It's like people make you nervous. Like same thing with me. I get nervous when I meet people for like for the first time. Like put me in an awkward situation. I will hyperventilate and just like freak out. That's
Same.
just me.
I just want to leave. I just want to go home. And
It's true. It's so true.
But it's
yeah.
okay. We're overthinkers. But what's the next question you have for us?
next question is, they asked, first fandom and how did you become a geek girl?
Ooh.
Loaded question.
Yeah, it is. My first fandom would be, Disney growing up. I guess that's everyone's kind of first fandom. But for me, like when it came to being like a geek girl and I got real passionate about was Pirates of the Caribbean. Like the movies.
They're good.
Those are amazing. We can go into full detail. Yes, I would consider that still a fandom.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because trilogy. Well, they have 5 movies now?
I think so.
Working
Yeah.
on 6, 7. Like that was my all-time favorite. That was my first one I had growing up. I was Elizabeth Swan. Each stage is a different movie. So I was like, what is it? Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, At World's End. I had each outfit for her, and then my last costume I did was like Angelica from number 4. Which one's that? Is that Stranger's Tide or
On Stranger Tides?
Stranger's Tide? Yeah.
I think so.
Is that what it's called? It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while for me since I've actually watched them. But that was my first fandom, was Pirates of the Caribbean. And then I think it's also because my ADD and I got addicted to watching. Like I get so addicted to watching these shows, and then I get obsessive with it. And that's when it grew into Star Wars, Marvel, DC. But Ashley, what about you?
For me, I would say it was Star Wars and Star Trek. We had Star Wars recorded on VHS back when you could just record things. And then my dad was like super Trekkie, and so I used to watch it with him all the time.
Star Trek was like ahead of its time.
It really was.
I still think it might still be.
I haven't watched it.
It's okay. I haven't watched the whole thing. I remember my grandfather, he's a Trekkie, and I remember, coming in on Sundays and seeing him watch it after Happy Days. It would be on.
What about you, Savi?
I definitely want to say that I feel like, because Mariah brought up a good point with like Disney and Pirates of the Caribbean. I feel like a fandom is anything that you just are passionate about. Like I saw it on Mariah's face talking about Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like, oh yeah, that's like, I feel like that's what a fandom is, just being passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, I want to say technically my first fandom would be Doctor Who, just because it felt exactly like what she said, an obsession of just wanting to watch everything and learn as much as I could about like the aliens and each doctor and what did this mean and what did that mean. And that opened the door for just fandoms in general. And you guys know that Star Wars is now like my favorite thing ever. But definitely Doctor Who was the first one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I haven't seen Doctor Who, but that's what I'm kind of excited for about this podcast is we want to share our not just Star Wars, because I feel like that's how we all connected with Star Wars, but our goal was to really reach out to other people through different fandoms. And me and Savi, like for instance, you said that you haven't seen Star Trek, and Ashley can teach us how to be Trekkies, and you can teach me the ways of being, I don't know what they call it in Doctor Who, but
Whovian.
Whovian. Okay. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to introduce this to hopefully new fans for each fandom.
Me too. All right.
Let's see. Next question. Our next question comes from at Bound to Be Epic on Instagram. And she asked, what show or movie are you excited about? It can be any fandom that is coming out soon.
Do we all want to say it at one time? Because I think we all have the same answer. It's Kenobi.
Yep.
Kenobi.
It's funny.
People are going to be shocked. They're going to be like, oh, Savi didn't say Ahsoka? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but the Obi-Wan series is, oh my God, I cannot wait.
I mean, obviously they're going to say the same thing about me too, but Obi-Wan has been bae from day one.
And we've been wanting this show for years.
I mean, to be honest, we didn't think we were going to get a show because this is recent for us. We wanted a movie.
That's true.
And then, I mean, how long have we been asking for? It's like, because it makes sense in the timeline for them to make a Kenobi movie until they were like, well, how about this? We'll give you a 6-hour show. And I'm like, please.
Yes. So excited. Even more now that we know that Hayden's going to be in it.
Speaking of which new shows, I mean, there's tons of new shows coming out. I don't even know where to begin, and we're going to try to cover that for everyone in the future. So we'll think about how we're going to do it, if we would just want to do reviews, or maybe we can do watch parties. So make sure you guys...
fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and keep you guys updated on what we do for future upcoming shows.
All right.
All right. Next question comes from at Hayden_M on Instagram. Asks, if you could change any character story from any fandom, whose would it be?
Well, for me, I'm not sure if I would really want to change anyone's fate, because what happens. Like, it happens for a reason. I think I would add on to people's character.
I could agree with
But that being said, if I did have to change anyone, we would save Ben Solo.
I'm going to jump in on that and say, I understand where you're coming from. Because personally, I already had a crush on Kylo Ren. But when I saw Ben Solo, I was really upset that he didn't stay longer.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they, like you said, add to his story with like a book or something, because I just feel like,
Or maybe like a Clone Wars style show. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like with the whole prequel series. But for me, it's basically, I believe everything happens for a reason. That's why we have these great stories. I mean, I think everyone can say, I mean, what is it like? What if Luke didn't take the droid or didn't take R2D2, went with, I mean, this, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
You know? Ashley, would you change anyone?
I mean, there's people selfishly that I could list, like Iron Man, even though it makes sense that it happened, but I love him.
Yeah. No,
Ben. Yeah.
That one he had a very heroic. That was a good ending for any character.
It's true, but I can't even tell you how many times I've seen that movie and I want to cry every time I watch it. It doesn't matter how many times I see it. But for adding on, Finn, I would add on to his story or make his part bigger.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to say Finn because I absolutely loved him in The Force Awakens. I personally shipped Finn and Rey. Don't come for me, please, Raylos, please. I'm not against you either. I like that ship too. But I just liked their relationship because Finn seems so caring. But I do I don't think I'd change his story because I feel like it was going good, but definitely add to it because I feel like he got robbed of so much more.
Yes.
And
I still think
someone else.
I still think he's related to Mace Windu, but that's a topic for another episode.
Who knows? Really, who knows? But I definitely would love to see something where, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but it would have been cool. Or even a book. Like, I'm okay with a book, something to add to his story of actually training to be a Jedi besides the Christmas special. I don't know if
I
you
was
guys
just
watched
going to
that.
say they did that in the Lego Christmas special and it made me sad
But I want to
because
see more.
Yes.
Like more like him getting like a different outfit and like assembling his like saber. And I don't know. I would love to see that.
Me too.
Well, maybe we'll see in the future. Any more questions for us?
Let's see. We have I'm sorry if I say this wrong. At Luthien Loves Pins on Instagram asked, what are some of your all-time favorite movie/book quotes?
Ooh, quotes. Ashley.
Well, now that you've put me on the spot, the quote has completely left my head. Oh crap, what is it? Shmi says it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just go ahead and go with mine. That way you can get your thoughts together. But mine was actually, and I'm not a really big Harry Potter fan. Like I am. I like the movies, but when it came to the books, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But it was a quote from Sirius Black, whereas like we all have light and dark in us, but what matters is the how we, what is it? We all have light and dark in us, but what matters is how we act on it. That's who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like that. I can't get the quote.
I think that's about it. That's
You
okay.
said it pretty close to it from what I remember. Shoot. Oh, here it is. Oh. I feel like people are gonna immediately know mine if they follow my Instagram, but I'll just say it. It's when Ahsoka in season 7 says, "Who you were does not have to define who you are."
That's a good one.
And it just means a lot to me, the quote. And I'm like, some people know that once she said that quote, the first time I heard it was what really finally pushed me to get her tattooed on me. And just because the quote really resonated with like the current period that I was in. So it just became like my favorite quote. And I always like look back to it whenever I need to just feel good.
It's a good one. Mine was when Shmi tells Anakin, you can't stop change any more than you can stop the suns from setting.
I like that one too.
That's pretty. Oh, I found my quote because I was not prepared. I forgot about it, but it is, we've all got both light and dark inside of us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are.
It's a good one. Was that our last question? Or do we have more?
We have one more.
Okay.
So final question is, what is the goal of Forces of Fandom?
To share, I think it's to share a fandom with everyone to let people hear our view on it, and hopefully they will join the fandom, watch the movies, watch the shows, and keep an open mind.
Yeah, and I think just
That's
connecting with
well
people.
Said. Yeah, I think it would just be connecting.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay. So I think next we should do, it's a segment called Nerf Herder News.
Scruffy looking Nerf herder.
Cue music. No, okay. So Nerf Herder News, we're going to talk about the most recent stuff that is in the news. Surprise.
And well, fandom news, not
yes.
like the dark side of news that's going on.
Yes.
Not real world news.
No.
They
gosh, no.
Turn off the podcast. They're like, oh, never mind.
Like I see this every day.
No, this is like geek news, y'all.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes. Big one. Disneyland is reopening, which is fantastic, Savi, if you're a California resident.
She's so stressed.
I am not bitter at all. But why don't you talk to us about how long it took you to get a ticket?
Yes.
God, like honestly, I feel like people are gonna be like, same. It took me 12 hours to get my ticket. 12 hours and then 5 minutes in the reservation line.
It makes no sense. I seriously can't believe it took you that long.
Well, I'm on Batu East, y'all. And here in Florida, we don't have any laws. So
I was going to say, Florida doesn't care about anybody.
We've been open since July. But I'm going to Batu for the first time this week.
Yay. I have to record that. You have to record your reaction or have somebody record you, please, because...
Yes. We will have to... I might not be here next week because I will be in Orlando. Well, sorry, Batu East. So I'm excited. Maybe we can do a little segment showing my reaction, my first time visiting, because the pandemic the pandemic kind of ruined my last 3 visits. So
same.
And so Savi, so you are going, right? You got your tickets. You're going.
Okay. If we're going to talk about this, I'm going to give like an explanation on this. I took 12 hours to get my ticket. There's some people who went almost like 16 hours to get their ticket. Some people got really lucky and got their ticket in 4 hours. It was a mess. And there was no understanding of how they were picking people because some people were on at 6 a.m. I hopped on at 9 a.m. Some people hopped on at 5 p.m. It was a mess. But I got my ticket and I'm going.
That's good. Maybe we can do like a little segment some other time because I was sharing it with y'all before about my experience about tickets, which I'm not going to say anything right now because I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't want to jinx it. So knock on wood. But maybe we can share that with people about our experience with how did it, one with tickets and how to, I think that'd be good to explain like in this world of this new norm and coronavirus era of going to the parks. I think that would be a good thing for us, me and Salvi, to share about how it was on Batu West and me for Batu East and my experiences and our experience about going post coronavirus then versus pre. So
Yes. And then
everyone,
as soon as we hear that out-of-staters can go to Disneyland, I'll tell you how that works.
yeah, so comment below if you guys would like to know about our experiences about going to Disney. Well, for me, Disney World, and for you all, Disneyland. So we'll share that.
Let's see what
Any
else.
more news?
We've got, well, Bad Batch is coming out in 2.5 weeks. It's premiering on May the 4th, and it's a 70-minute episode.
And then we're going to have another episode on that Friday.
Yep.
So we're going to get to that week.
And I think I heard that there is at least 14 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't think they're saying that's specifically the number, but there's at least going to be 14. So, and I don't know how that will work because Loki comes out, June 11th, I think, which I'm also excited for, but Bad Batch will still be happening.
So they'll overlap.
Yep.
I'm sure we can do little segments of each one, so we don't fall behind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're when that happens, we'll definitely cover 2 fandoms at once, which that would be perfectly fine. We'll put in the notes for everyone about what times they don't want to watch the Bad Batch or they don't want it spoiled to watch it here or to start here to watch Loki. But
yeah, so there's Loki. Black Widow is premiering, and I think it's in theater.
Yeah.
Did we hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, so July 9th. And then Suicide Squad 2 comes out in August. That's August 6th. So we've got a lot. I know.
I'm so excited. I think this is what Black Widow has been the most anticipated movie for the past 2 years.
I know. It better be amazing.
I think it will be.
I do too.
I'm a little nervous about it though. I don't know how it's gonna, because it's a prequel. I mean,
right?
We know what happens to her. Spoil.
That we do.
I'm just excited to just see it after waiting so long.
For sure. I think that's it for news, unless you guys can think of anything else. What's the most recent stuff?
I mean, there's all kinds of rumors going around, y'all. We all know about different items that are supposed to be coming out, but we won't share those until we know for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be a rumor podcast or a rumor YouTube channel. Once they make it official, then we will talk about what's coming out when it deals with shows or products or anything like that. We will share, but until then,
I think that's it for that. Should we dive into Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Let's do it. First of all, this series has been phenomenal. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh yes.
I finally expected.
It's true.
I'm here for it.
Now, we're going to be discussing episodes 1 through 5. There's going to be 6 episodes total in the series. Now, this is a limited series. There will not be a second season. Sad, but
right.
We're going to see these characters again.
Yeah.
But first, let's go ahead and break down episode 1, with the title is A New World Order. We got to introduce, it was very slow pace. It introduced the characters. Of course, we got the Falcon, Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. They spent most of the episode pretty apart. We see Bucky going through therapy, dealing with his past as being the Winter Soldier. being under Hydra's shield, and he's trying to make amends of, because I mean, technically he's not the Winter Soldier anymore.
Mhm.
Right.
And then we see Sam, who is dealing with being post-blip, dealing with family issues. We see him starting off in a mission with the U.S. military to save some random captain.
Yeah.
Like, how did he get captured? Another story, but okay. And he's actually captured by, which is very interesting, that he was captured by a character that we saw in Captain America. Was it in the Winter Soldier? Yes, Captain America Winter Soldier, which comes back in a full circle. It was George Barak. He was he was the head of the ALF, a terrorist group.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first saw that, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Interesting. Like, why is he still around? But it's fine.
Whatever.
Like, why is he not in jail? But it's okay. We do get a hint of where this is taking place in the timeline. Keep in mind that this is actually taking place in April 2024. Now, Endgame ended in October 2023.
Mm-hmm.
WandaVision, which we sadly missed, and we did get to cover it, but maybe in the future we can go back and review it. But that show, it ends in 2023 in that timeline. And then Spider-Man Far From Home, that in that timeline is June of 2024. So this is taking place almost like 6 months before those events. So that's where we're at in the timeline, is April 2024. It's so confusing, but keep in mind, everyone, the blip happened, so we jump 5 years from the events of Infinity War. Because Infinity War was up with our own timeline. But because of the snap, 5 years, so we're ahead a few years. But we learn about this terrorist group known as the Flag Smashers, and who is led by Carly Morgenthau, who we know is played by Erin Kellyman, who's a part of a Lucasfilm movie.
Yes.
She starred in Solo, a Star Wars film. And she also will be in Willow, another thing.
That's right.
So I'm excited to see him. I loved seeing her in this series.
Yeah.
Because she had such a small role in Solo, and I was just like so intrigued with that character. Like, I saw excited for me, someone who is obviously biracial, and just seeing a character who can kind of resemble to, and then seeing her play this awesome character. Like, let's be honest, her character in this show is, I think everyone can relate to her.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But we do see, like I said, we see Bucky dealing with his past, trying to make amends with Hydra, like trying to make amends for what he did under Hydra's mind control. And we also see Sam dealing with his family. We see his sister Sarah, sweet, love her attitude through this whole show. And we see how she's been holding her own since, her brother's been gone. Been blipped, she had no help. She's been taking care of 2 boys for the past 5 years, and they're struggling just like any other middle class African American family, working class, and they're trying to make a living. And I thought this first episode, what was a very interesting was Sam trying to get a loan.
Oh yeah, that
it was so heartbreaking.
Really, it was real. Like you would never think we'd see a character that we see as a superhero dealing with something like that.
Right. I never realized that they didn't have money or they needed help. Right.
Like, who pays them? It makes me think, like, why didn't Stark help them? Like, that's questions I just never thought of. And then it kind of hit close to home. And I think that's what this show has really done, is made people think, like, this is happening to us now.
Right.
But of course, like I said, it was a very slow pace starting off the episode. We do see the flag smashers. You get the idea that, hey, these are the bad guys in the show. So we think. But then the episode ends in the infamous Walmart Captain America.
And that's a
John-
dig at the character, not the actor.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Please make that very clear. We're not.
Yeah.
Like-
Wyatt Russell is a phenomenal,
Yeah.
handsome man.
Yes.
He's a phenomenal actor, but he does play John Walker, and we are supposed to hate this character. We
Yep.
don't hate him. We just don't like John Walker. So we want
Right.
to make that very clear.
Yes.
But the episode 2 focuses more on getting to know John Walker, the new Captain America. The title is The Star Spangled Man, which that is a nod to Captain America's song that they play
Mhm.
in the first Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sing the song.
Dang it.
But of course, I'm just going to call him Fake Cap because
Yeah.
that's just what he is. He's Fake Captain America. We get to know him. He's a former high school football star. He graduated from West Point. He's a West Point grad, military school, if everyone should know. Highly decorated counterterrorism soldier. On camera, he plays the perfect role of Captain America. Blonde hair, blue eye, spitting image of what a poster child for Captain America is, which is also very heartbreaking because you see Sam and Bucky's reaction to this new Captain America, and it's just heartbreaking because it's not that we don't. Yeah, okay, it is that we don't like John Walker, but it's kind of like he didn't deserve it. He didn't earn it. He hasn't been through the past 10 years.
Right.
As a fan, it was just heartbreaking, one, to see someone else play Captain America other than Chris Evans, because we've seen him play Captain America for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And what he went through in Endgame beats nothing.
Yes.
But of course, we're introduced to John and his partner, who is, what is his partner's name? I already forgot.
Black Star, but his name is Lamar.
Oh yeah, Lamar. Sorry, Lamar Hopkins. Thanks. But he does end up being Battlestar. It's kind of like his character name. Obviously, Battlestar is a character from the comic books, but as we know, Marvel comic books and Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't always match up. They're just a good reference. So if you are a fan of MCU, you do not have to read the comic book. That's what's so fascinating about, that's why I like the MCU. Because I'm more of an MCU movie fan than I am the comic books. I use the comics as reference. I like to look what things are, but you don't have to. There's so many different alternative timelines that you're not going to understand it. So don't be intimidated thinking that you have to come into this fandom being you have to read all the comic books, you have to watch all the cartoon shows just to understand what's going on, because you don't. But we do see Bucky and Sam go after the Flag Smashers to see what is going on, who are these people, and we find out very fast that these are super soldiers. How are they? We don't know at this point. That's what we're going to try to find out. But in this fight against Carly Morgenthau in the Flag Smashers, we do get a parallel fight to Avengers Age of Ultron fight with Captain America and Ultron when they're fighting on the semi-trucks. But in this, while obviously Bucky and Sam are fighting the Flag Smashers, we see Captain America fake Cap come in and like come out of nowhere and try to be the hero, of course, which I thought that scene when I first saw that, I was like, something's up. Like, how did they know where they were? But
Bucky and Sam were not happy about that, because that was when, after the fight, they tried to pick him up, or well, they did end up getting in the truck with him for a minute, but they didn't stay for too long.
no, they didn't. They had a very you can tell that they are hurt about what is going on. Like, obviously Sam was passed up, and Sam obviously feels like that shield should have stayed in the Smithsonian, where he gave it to them, to the U.S. government, as a memorial, basically, for Captain America. And he doesn't really deserve it. It's more than just a title. We also are introduced into this episode to Isaiah Bradley, who was basically in the comics, he's basically kind of like a black Captain America. He's a super soldier as well. He has been tested on, was given the serum by the government, which parallels to a true life event of the Tuskegee Airmen, where they given black airmen soldiers syphilis. They told them that it was a vaccine, and it ended up they were injecting them with syphilis. So it's very parallel to true events, but it's a very heartbreaking scene where you see an interaction with the two. But obviously, Sam he's mad about the situation, which he had a right to, because no one told him. Bucky tells Sam he didn't tell anyone because he's been through a lot, and he didn't just wanted him to live out his days in peace.
Right.
And it comes into that argument where they get a really real life event with the police officers. They confront. They confront Sam, wanting to know who his ID, who he is, want to know if he had identification on him. And it really hit home, because it's like they automatically assumed it was Sam versus Bucky. And then quickly they realized that who Sam was. He was a Falcon. They was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Falcon, I didn't recognize you without the suit," as if that makes a difference.
Right.
But then, Bucky,
it's insulting.
Yeah, it really is. And then Bucky ends up getting arrested, karma, but at the same time, for missing
his therapy.
His therapy. That's such a therapist move too, because like I said, we are introduced of Bucky going through therapy in episode 1, dealing with his demons, which when Bucky's in jail, Sam and him, they have a really funny enactment in that scene of their therapy.
It's like they're married.
Yes.
It was marriage counseling. That's exactly what it was. But that scene quickly goes dark.
Yeah.
I think it needed to, though, because they weren't communicating.
Right.
Well, after obviously Bucky's released from jail, they get one last offer from John Walker to team up with them, and they say no. No, we're going to go do this. We're going to do this our own way. And the one person that they decided, when Bucky and Sam go their separate ways, you guys know who they break out?
Well, technically, he broke out by himself.
In episode 3, they go visit Zemo, and this episode is called The Power Broker. Now, in the comics, the Power Broker is the reason why all the super serum is going out, which obviously that's pretty much what we can conclude that's what's happening in the show. The Power Broker is made a super serum through Dr. Nagel that we learn in this episode, who is experimenting, which they use the experiment from Isaiah Bradley that we find out in this episode. But like I said, in episode 3, the power broker, Bucky helps Zemo escape from a German prison. Did it himself. It was a very hypothetical but thetical.
Bucky did one tiny thing, and Zemo did the rest.
And this is what needed to happen. His character is he's a very much an anti-hero from this very much from this episode. Seeing those 3 interact with each other, golden.
Yes.
Was not expecting that. I think we can call them the big 3. Pun intended from. But we are introduced. So obviously they go to Madripoor to go find out who's behind the super serum. Now, if we remember the events from Age of Ultron, Zemo is against the super soldier program. He's honestly against all of the Avengers because of what happened it happened in Age of Ultron, but this is in Civil War. Sorry. I kind of got the events mixed up because what happened in Age of Ultron, his family was killed
in Sokovia.
In Sokovia because of the Avengers and it's like the effects of it. And then he is probably the most successful villain because he did what he was set out to do, was break up the Avengers. So his character, and he gets a nice, I didn't like him, honestly, in Civil War because I was like, well, this is kind of stupid, until later we saw the effects of what happened in Civil War. Because it affected Infinity War and then eventually an Endgame too. So we are introduced, but like I said, they go to Madripoor to find out what's happening. They learn about the power broker. That's who's behind this secret super soldier serum. And they run into an old friend.
Sharon.
Sharon Carter, who has been in hiding because of the events of Civil War. She has been marked as a enemy of the state for helping Bucky and Falcon and Steve basically save Bucky. And they just kind of, which is kind of sad, they did kind of just like forget about her.
It's true.
Nobody asked about her too. If you really think back to it, nobody brought up Sharon after that.
Yeah, let's see.
And that was, so after they met up with her, that's when they go to Nagel, right? Because they go to that
shipyard.
Yep.
Yeah, they go to the shipyard. They confront, obviously they find the secret lair of Nagel. We get the backstory. Basically learn that they were doing the testing, like I said earlier, on Isaiah Bradley, which Nagel doesn't last long. Zemo kills him.
While Sharon's out there kicking everyone's butt.
Oh, Atomic Blonde. Handling her own.
Obviously.
Like, I was like sitting there, like she was like calling for backup and they were just like, yeah, we're talking. I'm like, go girl.
Right.
But jump after the, obviously we learn about the power broker and what's going on. We jump to Carly and the dealing with the GRC. Now, the GRC is the Global Repatriation Council, who is supposed to be helping these displaced personnels around the world who were affected by the blip. Like, people came back obviously at the blip, and people basically found other people living in their homes. So the people who were living there had to leave. So the people who were blip back, that came back, got to stay basically in their homes. And the other personnels who didn't get blipped, they had nowhere else to go. during the time of the blip, the borders apparently were open.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically one world. Everyone was unified. They helped each other out. But as soon as that happened, everything went back to chaos. And it kind of, what they call these people refugees, which they find that very offensive. Where you get another look at Carly as she's not a terrorist. Well, she is a terrorist to the people who aren't helping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's a Robin Hood character. She defends the poor and the weak and takes from the rich.
Mm-hmm.
We do see in this episode where she sadly makes herself a terrorist because this is how she feels that they're only going to take her seriously. If she
Right.
becomes a serious threat, and she does blow up the GRC base. They have different bases obviously around the world, and they were sitting on 6 months supplies, and they take the supplies, hand them out to the refugees or displaced personnel, and you really see another side of Carly. Is like, okay, well, we can kind of relate to her.
Yep.
Definitely.
Now, episode 4.
I'm gonna move my mic back because I got really excited while writing notes.
Episode 4. Let's talk about this episode.
What is episode 4 called again? That's like the one thing I didn't.
The world, the whole world is watching. Is that what it was?
Yes. Okay. So. Okay.
Can we start off with episode? Can we say? I want to say one thing about episode 4. This would be the catchphrase for episode 4.
Yes, Steve
Rogers.
Rogers.
Steve Rogers would never. Never.
That's literally one of the things I wrote.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so episode 4. I'm just gonna dive in. We start off with episode that Wakanda throwback. Obviously episode 3 ended with, a little leading up to that, but I did not think we were gonna get a throwback. And I cannot tell you how much it hurt seeing Bucky like that.
Oh my God, yes.
Being so fragile. And we didn't ask for that Bucky montage, but we got it. And I'm so grateful for it because I love him as a Winter Soldier, but I am happy that he's now free from the brainwashing. And we saw that, I'm going to say it wrong, but the Dora Milaje.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying it right? Or
Dora Milaje.
That's right.
Dora Milaje. Helped him to be able to be free from that brainwash. So I was really happy to see that, but it was just so heartbreaking to see him in that state. Let's see. I mainly wrote specific points that stuck out to me, guys. So, and then I jumped to where Zemo is having a conversation. Is it with Sam? And he says, there has never been another Steve Rogers. I feel like that was very interesting to hear from Zemo, which, like you stated, is an anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming from Sam. It's not coming from Bucky. It's coming from this anti-hero character that hated the Avengers. And he's saying there has never been another Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Talk about foreshadowing.
Exactly. And he is discussing with Sam about basically why he believes that there shouldn't be super soldiers. There shouldn't be any extra, which of course he's dealing with the hurt of his family. He has every right to believe what he thinks, because you do have these people who think that they're above the law. I think it's kind of like a shout out to, it makes me think of, I don't know if you guys watch The Boys.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
You get kind of like that feel from what Zemo's talking about. Like he would hate that world.
Oh my God, yes.
I forgot his name, but the blonde one, the main guy that's supposed to represent
Superman.
Superman. Yes. I could just see Zemo like
Oh.
hating that guy.
Homelander.
Homelander, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, you're mentioning the conversation he's having him about them basically having like being supremacists, which
Mhm.
we'll tie later on in with the conversation that Sam has with Carly, which I also thought was very interesting. I also wanted to point out, have you guys watched Game of Thrones?
Yes. I'm
So-
a huge Game of Thrones fan.
Zemo with the kids, I got like Varys vibes, you know, when he has his little birds, his little, what does he call them?
I just kind of got like Big Bad Wolf, like very much.
Turkish Delights. That's what those were.
Oh, Turkish Delight. That that reminded. What was it? Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The White
Yes.
Witch. Yeah, that's very much what that whole montage of like kind of the White Witch coming in for the kids, bringing them in with Turkish Delight. Kind of got that vibe,
Mhm.
but of them trying to get information. That's what you gotta do. They get information from the kids.
That's why I thought of Varys, because I know Varys in Game of Thrones uses the children by giving them candy to get information that
Of the
he
little
can't get from.
birds.
Yes.
My little birds.
I just want to throw that out there because I was like, I hope I'm not the only one that got that. Let's see. I wanted to mention how the title for Captain America keeps getting thrown around because I forgot his name, but the guy that's with Carly while they're at the graveyard and they're getting the serum,
Mhm.
like he calls her
Captain America.
another Captain America. I thought that was very interesting, and I only wanted to bring it up because it's like they said when they gave Walker the role of Captain America, they needed another symbol of hope.
Mhm.
And that's basically what Captain America was and is. So it's interesting because by him saying that, Carly is seen as this like hope for these. Am I allowed to say refugees or displaced people?
Yeah, displaced people.
She's definitely seen as like their Captain America in a way, which I just thought was like interesting that he called her that, you know?
Right.
Okay. Moving on. Let's jump to Walker telling Sam he had 10 minutes.
Oh,
Are we
hold on.
stopping?
I think we're having technical difficulties.
Are we back?
There we are. Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry. Carry on.
Are we all good?
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Did I at least look pretty when I was frozen?
You kind of had some RBF going on.
It's okay. That's fine. That's natural.
I've been too nervous to look at the camera, so I kind of didn't notice until the very end and was like, are we stopping? Okay, where I left off, jumping to when Walker tells Sam that he had 10 minutes to talk to Carly, or otherwise they were going to do it his way.
Oh, yeah.
I really wanted to yell, what is your way, Walker? What is your way? What are you talking about?
I want to make a comment about, because I probably missed this when they do come up to end and like he kept talking to Sam, like, he kept talking to Bucky. Like, are you going to let your partner go in there by himself? Are you going to let your partner do this? Or like try and guilt trip Bucky. And I couldn't help but think that was a white man telling a white man to protect his black friend. Like in that sense, like in that scene, like he felt like he had to be well, obviously Walker has that sense of wanting to be the protector, but Bucky was like, he's his own man. He can take care of himself.
Yeah.
He's dealt with worse. He's fine. And I think that right there shows that he sees him as an equal instead of being a protector type of situation. That makes you more of a man, as you can see someone else as an equal or as superior.
Yeah.
And then basically be like, you need to protect your partner. You need to have his back. You need to tell him what to do. No. If he wants to go get himself in trouble, he can handle his own.
Right.
That was my take on that. But
I can definitely agree with that. It showed an insight to his thought process when
Mhm.
he's having that like conversation with Bucky.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we jump to when Carly's at the funeral for how do you say her name?
Mama
Doña
Doña. Mama
Mama
Doña.
Doña. I like that I know there's moments where we get to see Carly vulnerable, but I felt like in this one was like a longer time span of her being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely adds even more to why the Flag Smashers believe so heavily in their cause.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we've seen like little snippets like you mentioned in the other episodes, but here I really felt it, especially the way she's explaining everything.
Yes. If people watch this and they're kind of confused because it does kind of jump because you don't get that feeling from the other episodes. Now, the episodes before, in episode 3, you see her there with the hood on before she goes and blows up the GRC. It's a reshoot. We're pretty sure it's a reshoot. The storyline for this show, like there was a second storyline. They had to go and take it all out, cut it because it paralleled with the coronavirus. They thought it was.
Oh,
That's why, like for instance, Mama Donia, she gets sick with tuberculosis, and Nico kind of mentions it a little bit about it's very popular. This was what happens in displaced camps, like impoverished camps, is TB going around, and there was a huge outbreak of a virus, and they were like, scratch that. So they had to go and do some other scenes, and I'm pretty sure that's one of them because I think her hair is different. That's why her hood was up. Because
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, her hood's up, and I'm pretty sure her hair is different right now because of her filming for the Lucasfilm show Willow.
Okay.
So that's what I think is going on. But that is confirmed though that there were reshoots and they did take out that storyline of the show. So, and I'm pretty because I'm pretty sure that character right there probably had more lines, obviously, because she's a big time actor. So it's kind of like, why would they just use her for just a dying body, like someone who's sick? But I'm almost positive it's because all of her scenes were cut because of that storyline.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Let's see. Talked about that. Okay, let's jump to when Carly and Sam are having their discussion. I also thought that was really interesting because it was just another reminder as to why Sam should have been Captain America. He didn't go in there hot-headed or upset or just wanting to fight. I like that he tells her, I agree with your fight, but I don't like how you're fighting it.
Right.
Just because he does understand why she's fighting what she's fighting. And I do like how he has that conversation where he kind of tricks her. I don't want to say trick, but like she does, she gets a little upset that he made her sound like a supremacist, but in reality, she just admitted.
Just getting a second view of her, which I thought that scene, I love that scene too. It just, because she is a kid.
Right.
Yeah. You don't think that by what she's doing, but I do like that Sam still sees her that way. And I do like that he points out that she's not what did he say? She's not motivated by the same things as obviously the other villains they've dealt with.
Right.
And I just like that they had that talk. Like, I did not expect that. I thought this whole series was gonna be like fighting and action, and I just really like that they've shown this stuff. And again, it just was another thing to add to the list as to why he should have taken up the shield. And of course, right when they're getting into the development of a good conversation where actually it looks like Carly is rethinking what she's doing, we have good old Walker just bust right in and ruin the conversation. But I want to point out something because it happened really fast. Did you guys catch when he just goes in and he tries to go for Carly and she calls him a Nazi? Like,
Mhm.
it just happened so quick, and I feel like people didn't really talk about it. Yeah, she calls him a Nazi when he goes right at her.
No, I think we had enough time to talk.
I thought that was really interesting because, well, I haven't seen other people talk about it. I don't know if I just haven't stumbled across someone, but talking about it. But I just thought that was really interesting because she just immediately calls him that. You know, I don't know. That's just interesting and ironic that
I
he's
didn't
wearing the
catch.
Captain America suit.
I didn't catch
Oh, yeah,
that at all.
Go back and watch it right when he like goes in and on the conversation. Look at the captions. She calls him a Nazi when he like runs into her. Let's see. And then I jumped to Zemo shooting Carly without hesitance, which I thought was like,
because she's on the run at this point from them because Walker had to go and mess everything up. They had a good thing going.
Obviously I know they did that for the storyline, but if Walker wasn't there, I really feel like the show would have just ended right there because Sam was getting through to her with no problem. But I thought it was interesting how, at least when I see that scene, I was kind of shocked that Zemo just shot her without hesitation because it was like seeing a kid get shot.
Right.
You know, she is a kid.
He doesn't see her as a kid either. He sees her as a means to end. That is something that keeps coming up over and over. Sometimes that doing something bad for the greater good. And I'm sorry I keep looking down, but my cat is trying to mess with the cords underneath here. He's like, oh, this cord is for me.
You're fine. But no, yeah, definitely he doesn't see her as a kid. But for me, it's just I see her as a kid, you know?
Right.
So it was just like, I was like, oh my God, he's like shooting at her without hesitation. And you guys see that he destroys the serum, which I wasn't shocked at or surprised. You know, I would have taken the opportunity to.
And I thought that was a good thing for his character too, because he not only does he talk the talk, but he walks the talk. So
Right.
he's trying to destroy all of them if he can. But
well, we jump to Walker, you know, knocking him out with the shield. And of course, there's one last vial of serum that he sees. And Walker, being the Walker person that he is, he takes it. But I just thought it was so sus and sketch how he goes about it, just hiding it in his pocket, knowing he's doing something wrong and still doing it. But I mean, are we surprised?
No.
No, we knew that was coming. Honestly, I was surprised because I thought he had already taken it. I just thought he was kind of like hiding the fact, but it was now got a confirmation of no, he did not have super strength. So obviously we know where that's going to head to.
I feel like it's a lot of different factors pushing him to get to that point where he's like, I'm going to take it.
You could see him slowly snapping through that whole episode.
Yeah.
PTSD.
That's true. And let's see. Ironically, we have that scene where he takes that serum, and then I'd like to jump to the scene where Zemo is having conversation with Sam and asking him if he would take the serum. Would he? And Sam, without hesitation, says no. Again, another reason he should have taken up the shield. And even Zemo is kind of like impressed that he said no without hesitation, because you know, as soon as you hesitate on that, there's your answer.
Right.
Like, you would take it because you're thinking about it.
Yep.
Now, my favorite scene with the Dora Milaje, when they just walk in because Walker and Battlestar are there already giving Bucky and Sam a hard time about Zemo. And I know everyone's been saying it and tweeting it and quoting it, and I don't care. I'm going to say it here. I loved when they said the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves to be.
Yes.
And we cue the ass kicking that we all been wanting for Walker.
Oh, and thank God he got it, but he took that hard because, like he said, they were not super soldiers. He's not used to people. He's used to being the best.
Mhm.
Sorry, you got out-bested by black women.
I was gonna say I definitely felt like that was it for him.
Mhm.
That was
Oh yeah.
he, like, when he says, well, let me, before I jump into that part, I wanted to point out that I love when Sam tells Bucky we should do something and they're just watching.
He's like, looking strong, John.
Yes.
Because Bucky knows how badass these women are. Because he's trained with them. But you're
Right.
looking strong, John.
That cracked
we need
me
to
up.
Play that. We got to play that clip for everyone.
Yes.
We should do something.
Looking strong, John.
Bucky?
When he asked that, I really wanted to scream at the screen and be like, I mean, should you, Sam? Should you do something? I think we're good. Just you can allow it to continue.
Just let it play out.
I love the fact that like all of them were just watching this happen. Like Zemo was just like taking a sip of his whiskey and was like, "Peace. I'm not messing with these." But John like clearly like has no concept of the world. Like,
You said it right there.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what he expected. I feel, you know what? I'm just gonna say, if privilege was a person, it's John Walker. Like,
It's
I know
true.
he worked his way to be where he's at, kind of, in my opinion, kind of.
No, he did not earn. No,
That's
he
why I
just
put kind of.
Yeah.
He was just picked as a
Mhm.
poster boy, in my opinion. But he does not have, like you said it perfectly, he doesn't have a grasp on the world, on everything going on. So when he goes up to them and he's like, I'm Captain America, I was like, oh my God. Like,
And I'm like, they built that shield.
Right?
That is vibranium.
can we talk about the part where one of the Dora Milajes, like,
Holds the shield.
Yes. It's just like give
I
it
was
back
like,
or
just
leave it
take
here.
it at this point. Just take it.
She makes a better Captain America.
It's true.
Okay.
Honestly.
We'll get through this episode.
It's just, this scene is like my favorite scene, and I'm sure other people would agree with me. Let's see. There's just so much happened. We also got to talk about when they removed Bucky's arm.
Oh, I know.
My feelings got hurt. Like, can you imagine how he felt?
It's like a fail safe, which makes sense. I don't like. Obviously, people were saying that they felt like obviously that they didn't fully trust him or anything. I didn't see it like that, but it's like he had to take it off sometime. You gotta, you gotta be able to take it off so they know how to take it off. Obviously, so if it didn't work, if he did revert back into that, they would know how to disarm and take off the arm. But you have to be able to take off the arm, so some way to do it.
Literally disarm him.
A lot of people wrote it to the whole like they didn't trust him thing, but for me personally, I kind of just was like, I'm kind of hurt that you like went to that level of disarming me when like he's so sensitive about that subject, in my opinion. That was just for me what was like, like you spent time with him, what he's been through. That was my like perspective on it. Because I agree with you, like it's not that they didn't trust him, it's just you got to take the arm off at some point.
Yeah.
So
and they just knew how to do it, and I mean, it just happens.
all right, and where are we at? We talked about that. Okay, we talked about when Walker says they weren't even super soldiers, and he just looks so defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the next thing to jump into was when he's having that conversation with Lamar. If he was offered the serum, would he take it? And Lamar's response is,
Hells yeah.
well, he says, hells yeah, right? I was like, oh, okay, well, that's what let him know he can take it.
Right.
But I do like that Lamar also says power just makes a person more of themselves, which
is a flag. to that scene, which maybe we can find that scene and play for people, but from Captain America #1, the from Dr. Is it Erskines?
I forgot his name, but
Yeah, I
know
think it's
who you're-
it's Dr. Erskines, who is the one who basically came up with the serum for Steve Rogers to take. And he says,
The serum amplifies everything that is inside. So good becomes great. Bad becomes worse. This is why you were chosen. Because a strong man who has known power all his life may lose respect for that power. But a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion.
Thanks.
I thought it was ironic that he says that, and he uses the example of Steve and Carly, like your buddy's right in front of you, and it's not until Walker asks him, "Well, what would you think would happen to me?" And I kind of personally, I didn't like his response, saying like his achievements and stuff. I was like, but that doesn't really say, you know.
well,
Kind
of like that calls back into like the military aspects of what people see on paper, what they see that, and how they train, which this whole show has a political undertone, not just for race, but how they are treating veterans, how they treat, and it's sad because I do kind of like feel something for John a little bit, as being my father's been in the military. I think we know someone who's been affected with PTSD, and they're dealing with this idea of like, man, if they had that serum, how many lives could they have saved by doing this? And get this guilt of, yes, I did all these amazing things, but I could have done more. I could have done more. But continue on. Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
You're okay. But I just thought it was really ironic that he says that, and then I don't know. I just didn't like that he uses Steve and then Carly as examples, but he does. I don't know. It kind of felt very.
You're
my buddy. Like, you're my buddy, and I'm gonna tell you
what you want to hear.
Yeah, that's how I felt, you know. And okay, we jumped.
Do you really think it's that, or it's more so that he just believes like the best in him? No one's looking at the negative side of it or seeing what's underneath it. They're just overlooking it like, oh, he'll be fine. Or you have a great career. You should be happy. You should be thankful. It's kind of like that situation of him always seeing Lamar just seeing the good. And so I'm like, how can someone who's done all this good stuff, saved lives, how could he be bad? Oh, he's fine. It'll be fine.
I could throw that into the ring too. It's just interesting how the thought process went there. All right. And then I wrote, let's jump to when Carly meets up with Sam to talk again after, Carly threatens his sister.
Now, this talk is actually a decoy to their actual plan.
I put, let's see, Carly meets with Sam. We find out that Walker has taken the serum from a few little fighting moments. Sam realizes, something's wrong. Obviously, he got the idea, like, you took the serum. And I want to jump into the part where Carly just goes at Walker with the knife. You guys catch that part, right? Where she's like, that's the plan. She's going to kill him.
That was fun.
What's with all the knives?
That was a funny scene. I saw that. He was like, what's up with all, like, I was the same thing. Like, they have like an endless supply of knives on them. Like,
I think they were just taught to fight that way. I don't know. But you're right. Like, he says it and you just see like so many of them. But I just thought it was so, I don't know. I just thought it was so interesting that the guy grabs Walker and she's just like, I'm going for it right then and there. And
power punch. That's all. Like, that's the move, is that power punch.
Well, talking about that, then we jump to Carly using that on Lamar and accidentally killing him. And I say accidentally because of the reaction she has after.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to point out that at the beginning of that scene, that was her plan, is to kill Captain America. So she's going at him with the knife, not hesitating, but Lamar jumps in. And then we jump to she accidentally kills Lamar. And you realize Captain America, or Walker, his guard is completely down. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he just runs to his friend who is now dead. And you see Carly have this reaction of like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I would think if she really wanted to go for it, that was her moment to like end Walker right then and there. But she doesn't. She has this face of like, oh my God, what did I just do? And then runs off, which I just thought was very interesting because she seems so dead set on getting him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we jump to this seeing a different side of her, which also I think, what is the word? It reassures what Sam said, that she's not really like the other villains they've interacted with. She has different stuff motivating her. And oh God, we're at the end.
Let's say it again.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers would never.
Let's see. John obviously has his best friend partner. He takes it out in the first flag smasher that he sees, runs out and chases the person who didn't kill him, takes it out on basically a victim.
Seeing the blood on that shield.
That's what I wrote as the final, like that final shot of seeing that shield that we've like adored and loved with, you know, I'm sure people are going to be like, I'm sure Captain America accidentally got blood on it somewhere at some point. But like, the thing is here,
he used it for blood, like over.
He murdered someone.
Murder. He like completely murdered.
Can I say something? Marvel just pulled a DC on us because I was like sitting there screaming. Like when he kept going, I wish I would have recorded our reaction to it because I was sitting on my couch screaming and horrified. Not the fact that it wasn't that scared. Well, it did scare me because I'm not used to seeing Captain America like that. I'm not used to seeing Disney do that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's amazing that Disney did that. I don't know. I had to go back and watch Captain America movie just so I can feel good.
That's what I did too.
Like, I texted my brother, and that's the first thing I said to him. I was like, Steve Rogers would never. And
that was the first thing I text you guys too, because I just got cut up last night.
I was like, he would never. And then seeing the crowd's reaction, because you see Carly, you see people videotaping, you see Bucky and Sam just looking and horrified.
Mm-hmm.
Which that scene leads to our latest episode.
Right. That episode was called Truth, right?
Yes.
And so that's when he runs to that warehouse or whatever it is that he goes into. And, you know, he's feeling guilty about Lamar dying. And I think, did they had some flashbacks or something? Wasn't he like kind of in his head? Was he thinking back?
Yeah,
to...
you kind of hear it a little bit. You hear like a little.
And then, God, that whole scene when Falcon and Bucky come and, you know, they are trying to get the shield, but then it turns into that whole fight, which the fight reminded me of Civil War when
exactly.
they were fighting Iron Man.
Exactly. And that scene, just seeing like when Bucky was just like, he was like, you don't want to do this. And it's like, Bucky's like, yes, we do. I was like, oh, I was kind of shocked because I was like, oh, we're getting this like right off the bat.
Yes.
This fight between the two.
And I've been waiting for that this whole entire series, was for Bucky to really go at it with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he like he tries to go, was it who does he have on the ground? He tries to kill with the shield again. Like, I couldn't believe.
He lost it. He loses it. Like,
Oh, yeah. He rips off Falcon's wings.
He tries to do it again to Sam. And of course, he does knock Bucky out, but not for very long. And yeah, they do win back. They take the shield back. Sam takes the shield.
I think even during that scene at one point again, he says, "I am Captain America." Like, it drives me insane. Like, he just feels the need to say that all the time.
I thought it was very interesting in that scene too. Like, because if I'm not mistaken, Bucky takes it from John and just gives it back to Sam. Like, in a sense, like, just like, don't you give this away again.
Yeah, that's what I got from that. And then they had the scene with Sam and Torres, and it's funny because Torres keeps asking, like, what happened to the wings? What happened to the wings? And I saw something, I don't follow the comics, but someone had mentioned, like, Sam doesn't want to take the wings with him, and then that sets up Torres for becoming Falcon.
Yes, he does turn into Falcon in the comic books, though he gets his powers from the power broker in the comic books, which that's not the route that they're going to go, obviously, because in the comics, he turns into an actual Falcon. So obviously, they're not going to go that route, but he's gearing up to turn into a protege for him. So.
And I thought it kind of made me happy, even though it just made things worse, but actually getting to see Walker, like, his trial, you can see him like having a hard time controlling his anger there, but then his losing his benefits and his rank and all of that.
That kind of I'm getting a little upset about that scene because I do feel bad for him, because when he broke down and said that line, you made me, or something, like, right? This foreshadows very much of how the U.S. government does treat veterans. In the beginning of the series, we do see that reflection to not only Isaiah Bradley, but to the Falcon too, of how people treat Black African American. It's a constant thing that's happened in history with African American soldiers, of when they do go off to war, they're this decorated war vets, but they come back, they're nothing. They don't see them as equal. But then on the same side, not just Blacks, but just in veterans in general, whenever they do something wrong or something, if they get hurt or something, oh, we're training you to do this and you follow the books. Because let's be honest, he followed the books. He did what he was supposed to do. Now he shouldn't have. The thing is, he got caught. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the scapegoat for what the U.S. government does to every veteran. Get stripped, say, okay, this is a fail-safe. We're going to strip you of it. You did this wrong. But no, they're not taking responsibility. And that's just what happens to the U.S. government. I'm not just saying just to African Americans, militaries, but white women. They do not take responsibilities for our vets. And that was a huge eye-opener that they put that in this film. In this, well, I say film, but show. This is like movie quality.
Right. And then after that, we're introduced to Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, which that was her name. Good Lord. But that part was crazy because we don't really know anything about her. I know from comics it's Madam Hydra, right?
Another thing, spoiler, we know this from previous, but she's going to be introduced in Black Widow, her character. And we were supposed to get Black Widow months, like almost a year before this obviously show came out. So keep an eye out. Let's see if she's still in Black Widow, but she was supposed to be introduced in Black Widow. Let's see what her role is.
That'll be interesting
to see and how they play it. But in the comic book, she does become Madam Hydra. Well, she is Madam Hydra.
Yeah. I loved the scene with Bucky and Zemo. with the gun where he goes to shoot him, but he's emptied out the bullets, and then they show up to take him back to Wakanda. And I like how Zemo mentioned that he had crossed him off his list.
No.
That he didn't hold anything against him anymore.
Yeah. I don't think that's the end that we're going to see is Zemo.
No, I don't think so either. And the whole scene with Sam and Isaiah. Yeah. That was so sad. Like just hearing
And it is sad, but that's of course the pain that generation feels. They were hurt by the American government, of the American people, of not seeing him as equal. He was tested on for 30 years in prison. And if you think about it, okay, that conversation, he's talking about how he went and rescued his other comrades who were also part of this test subject, and they were just going to blow up because they were taken a prisoner. They were just going to blow up. He got wind of them. They're going to destroy the POW camps so they don't find evidence of them. So they were just going to just kill them. Just saw them as indispensable. And he breaks out and he goes rescues them and brings them back.
And then they get killed anyways.
Well, yeah. Well, he ends up. They put him in jail. And then they test on it, obviously, for 30 years. Now, keep this in mind. Now, he went and saved POWs, right? Obviously, black POWs. Steve Rogers did the same thing. And the first Captain America goes and saves Bucky and all those other prisoner wars, and he comes back and he's a war hero. So it's showing parallels of two super soldiers going and doing the exact same thing, but one is white and the other one's black, and this is how this one is treated. So that was what they were showing there in that scene.
Right. And then that's when it seemed like Sam really started to question whether or not he should do it, because what did Isaiah tell him? That no self-respecting black man would be Captain America.
I felt like it was the opposite, actually.
Did you?
I thought that was when he was just like, no, you're wrong. That's what you think. But like his best friend obviously gave that to him and saw him and saw his worth, that it's going to change. It has to change with someone. It's not going to happen if you don't make that change.
Right.
We will never have a black Captain America if you don't be the first person to make the moves. Are they going to accept? Is everyone going to accept you? No. But you're going to make it easier for the next person behind you.
Right.
To do it.
And I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
It did look like he was questioning it. And when Isaiah said, that, honestly, it like hurt, because he said it with such emotion. And even like to today's events, I kind of was like, I can see that. I can agree with that. But to what Mariah said, I could see Sam seeing it as like, if I don't do it, at what point will it happen?
Right.
And with the support of Bucky, I'm sure that it was much easier to make that decision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I loved the scene with Sam and Bucky and the shield when they were throwing it and stuff. God, what else? The box from Wakanda. Yes. What's in the box?
But we also got we also got a good scene where, obviously Sam goes back to Sarah and helping fix the bow, and you see the community, Sam reaches out and said, hey, we helped you, my family's helped you, so can you come and help us and pay it forward? And that's what the town did. And that's when Bucky comes in and helps. He brings in the box. He called in a favor from the Wakandas, and he gives them a box from them. So that's where we're like, what's in the box? Which we know what's in the box. You guys pretty much, can you guys guess what's in the box?
I'm assuming his suit, like his new suit.
He's getting a vibranium suit. Like, if not, then I'm gonna be like,
What the hell?
Yeah. And he's getting a vibranium suit, which is pretty much just as good as having super soul serum.
Right.
So he's gonna have extra protection, obviously. But we also get a little flirting from
Yes.
Bucky.
And Sarah.
I love it.
I do too.
I loved it when she was. Do you think that? Now, hear me out. Did Sam not tell his sister about the events of Winter Soldier?
I don't know. I feel like she would have to know because isn't everyone pretty much
Oh,
knows?
well, just go for the bad guys. We all look at Sebastian Stan that way. So
it's true. And the way that he just smiles at her.
yeah.
It was great. What else? Did you see the after credit scene?
Yes. That's the first post credit scene that we get from the series.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's a flash of he's going to be turned into U.S. agent.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Right.
Because that's John Walker in the comics is U.S. agent.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets stripped of being his title of Captain America, he takes on the title of U.S. agent. So that's what this is happening.
Right. Oh, I'm excited for the finale. I'm wondering how long it's going to be, though.
I'm nervous.
They're really just going to have to just hit the ground running, I feel like, when the episode starts.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to jump into our Cerebro.
Welcome to Cerebro.
And we're going to talk about our favorite quotes and our favorite scenes from the first 5. So, Savi, what was your favorite scene?
I feel like it's been a bit since I watched the first ones. I feel like I need time to think because I don't remember the first ones. I know we went over it, but
I think my favorite scene from the whole show was definitely the whole interaction with Zemo and Sam talking and about would you take the serum, and there hasn't been another Steve Rogers, that whole idealistic of getting that side of Zemo, because I'm pretty positive we're going to see like another show with him becoming being the anti-hero that he is, because he's very much kind of like the Loki to like Captain America series.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love the interaction. Any scene with like the Zemo, like his character, I find it so fascinating, like where that character has grown, because we didn't get that obviously from a movie from Civil War, because he was kind of like, I mean, I'd be honest, I didn't think he was that good of a villain. It wasn't until later that I could appreciate what he did and his whole conversation of being like, he has a point. I would have to say, like, in a world where all this, obviously, there can't be someone who's just making super soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. Mm-hmm. They had this good idea of having one with Captain America, but like you said, there has never been another Steve Rogers. Obviously, like, well, look what happened to John Walker. We can't have people like that. They
Right.
can't.
Yeah.
Ashley?
For me, it's not really a scene, but I've just loved watching Sam and Bucky's relationship, like from the first episode to, where they're kind of, he came to help him and they're bonding. Yeah, really, that's just my favorite. If I had to pick a scene, it's not a scene of importance.
Yeah, their chemistry is hilarious and also heartbreaking too.
Right. It is. The favorite scene would probably just be the Gandalf scene. That scene cracks me up every time.
That's hilarious.
I've taken the time to think, and I definitely would be the person to just say something with Steve and Bucky, but I honestly want to say I think the scene that really like stuck with me because it was just shocking was just when Walker loses it,
Mm-hmm.
because one, I never expected that from the show, let alone Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know, it like really opens the door for them to do so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely that was probably like, as shocking as it was, that had to be a favorite scene because it just was crazy to
Right.
me.
That was a lot. It was a lot to take in. I was depressed
Mm-hmm.
after that scene.
My mouth stayed open the whole time. He was like, I was in shock.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to also talk about. I have to go back and I just thought about this scene. Which we got this scene in the trailer of them doing their couple therapy session, which we all anticipated it was going to be such a funny scene to see them interact. But it got dark I don't want to say dark. It got sad real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I really love seeing the scene of Bucky going to therapy because it allowed them to open up, because in a world where it kind of society where a lot of men do not go to therapy because of that fear of, I'm not sure if it's a fear or they just say, oh, I'm a guy, I can handle it. Like,
Isn't it like
it's just that ideology of,
yeah.
be a man, like, oh, you're fine, man up kind of situation. And going to and opening up the feelings, even though he was reluctant about it, but his therapy was working.
Right.
In a sense, but you did see him open up with to Sam, and he was saying if he, why'd you give up the shield? Kept on bringing that up. Why'd you give up the shield? Not understanding
Right.
why he like just not thinking like not seeing color, which that is the problem. Like people wanted to say, oh, it means he's not racist because he doesn't see color. No, that just meaning you're not acceptable of seeing what he is going through, not seeing what the world is seeing, which, I mean, not saying it's a bad thing, but it is kind of being an ignorant thing. It's kind of ignorant.
Right.
Not seeing why he didn't want to. I'm just like the whole time I'm watching this episode, I was like, it's obvious, like, stop, like, you need to be there, which that comes back in the 360 with this last episode where Bucky apologizes, and he pretty much apologized for Steve too, saying like, me and Steve wouldn't have understanding. I do apologize for it. I see it now, how much stress that this puts onto you, because like Bucky was just not getting it. He was like, you see you as Captain America. Steve believed in you, and if he was wrong, then he was wrong about me. He was kind of like taking it on himself, though.
Right.
Like seeing his own faults, not really just seeing. It's not. I don't think it's not the fact that he didn't want to take it, but he just knew.
Yeah.
And I think the show did a really good job of bringing Walker into it to get everyone. I do appreciate this, like bringing Walker into getting a character that everyone hates and seeing like, oh, he doesn't deserve it, and getting that set up to like everyone's going to accept Sam now after seeing what John did. Like,
I have to say that they honestly did think it through with doing this, because I remember when Endgame came out, and we get that scene where Steve gives the shield to Sam. There's a lot of uproar saying that, oh, this is just to fit in with the current agenda. This is just because the current agenda is this. Same thing with who was it? I think with Captain Marvel too. It was like, oh, it's to fit in with the agenda of like having more women and people of color as like superheroes. But I mean, first off,
It needs to be.
It needs to be. Times are changing.
Yeah.
And
Don't get me wrong. I love seeing Chris Evans on TV. I would love to see him for 6 hours on my TV every Friday. But
well, I definitely think they just went the right way about it to really give him the title. Even though if you like some people are gonna argue they shouldn't have to go through all that. But it does add to it. Because a lot of people would have just honestly, I feel like if they had just thrown him in with the title, people would just written it off as it's an agenda and I don't care. Like that's not Captain America.
right,
Yep.
And now we're behind it.
Right.
exactly.
Actually, with you bringing up all the therapy and stuff, that kind of is perfect for leading into our Mental Health Monday quote.
Now, jumping into our Mental Health Monday quote, we agreed that mental health is very important, especially in the times that we are in right now. Some of us are still in quarantine, even though restrictions are lifting up where we can travel more, but still we are mostly at home, and mental health is very important, and it's not talked about a lot. But so we're going to start doing Mental Health Monday and ending everyone with a quote to think about throughout the week. And we want to be a positive community for everyone. So if you ever need help, please DM one of us. We would love to talk. Reach out to your loved ones and friends and share your stories with us. And also don't be afraid, because it's okay to not be okay.
Perfectly said, Mariah.
Mhm.
And just to jump onto that, it's just like she said, you really can reach out to any of us. I know that the three of us like talking to basically anybody who's into fandom and geeking out. You know, my followers know I love talking to them and just having a conversation, whether it's about their day or maybe you just need to talk, like to vent, you know?
Mhm.
It helps us too.
All right, so I do have a quote that I picked out for this week. A lot of people might not know him, but he's an artist by the name of Youngblood, music artist from the UK, and he's a really positive person. And I liked that he tweeted this, and I thought I should share it with you guys. Your imagination is the greatest thing you have. It's what makes you unique. Never be afraid to show it. Never be afraid to be proud of it.
I like that.
That's beautiful.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps up our first episode. Yay!
Yay.
I
hope everyone enjoyed.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I just want to say, may the force be with you.
Till they spire.
And we love you 3000. Bye.
Bye.